to Axie Chat. I'm going to do better to make sure that I'm describing things for the podcast. I've failed a little bit, but we have something super special for everybody today. We have JIHOZ, who was able to decide to join us for today's Axie Chat, just right out of the blue, 5 minutes before we started. Welcome, JIHOZ.
Hey, what's up, guys? No, big fan, big fan. Yeah, I'm excited to be here today.
It's
Long time
awesome to
listener.
have you here,
What's
man.
it called? Like, long time listener,
Yeah,
first time caller.
First
full
time
month,
on the
full
Axie
month
Chat.
listener. What's funny is we've all done different podcasts with you, and I think Cloud White like months ago, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. So it's this is
Yeah,
kind of like
I
our
like to
reunion call. We got to bring him back on the call too.
Oh, heck yeah.
definitely. I like to think that that was kind of like the genesis of the idea. But and yeah, we only did two, and it was with you guys. So
There's just so much going on in the community, and this is what kind of got me started in putting together content in the first place. Is it's just so hard to keep track of everything unless you're living in Discord 24/7. And watching those
for sure.
Cloud White interviews, and obviously all the different podcasts that you have going on, or interviews, or what have you. It just kind of solidifies how important this sort of thing is to kind of have weekly updates that people can listen in on whenever they are able to. And something else that's kind of cool is, so we started doing this because it was a more accessible way to get people to listen to the podcast. We're like, well, I don't know if people are actually going to listen. And I actually had somebody in chat today tell me that they wanted to join this because they've been a listener in the podcast and they wanted to see what the slides were.
That
So
was it.
your slides are bringing people
Okay.
in, Baronar.
Well, good. I'm glad that I'm bringing some people in. That's what our whole goal is to get people to know some information about Axie and maybe dig a little bit deeper than what other people are digging. And happy to share that information to to keep everybody informed and maybe maybe a little bit ahead of the loop. Hopefully, we don't go too far off kilter. Sometimes we really dive into the speculation for sure, but JIHOZ here today to keep us online and in track, and that's a lie, right? He's not gonna. He's gonna just be like, yeah, you guys, whatever.
JIHOZ hears that word speculation, he just cringes a little bit, a little seizure.
Speculation is the name of the game.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
super glad that we have you on today, especially because you're the author behind these development updates, and we're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about this new development update. I'm like permagrin here. I can't even stop smiling. I'm so excited about what's happening. But before we get into that development update, because I know we're going to want to talk quite a bit about it, I wanted to hit some of the news topics in the Axie space. So let's go there
Sure.
first. Are you guys good with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So here we are, news in the Axie space. And okay, so this one was just put on Axie Infinity just today, and we're going to hit 10,000 addresses holding Axies today. How should we celebrate? If you're in the chat, we'd love to have you, give some ideas. But hop on Twitter at Axie Infinity, and you can give your
We're at
ideas there.
exactly. I have an announcement. We're at exactly 10,000 right now.
That's incredible. Wow.
There's your leak, everybody. That's the
We're
big
at
news.
exactly 10,000. We have done it. This is amazing. Honestly, like I'm usually pretty composed, and obviously there's so much work to be done, but that's definitely yeah, it's really really awesome news, and yeah, man, it's amazing. So yeah, shout out to the community, everyone who's gotten us to this point. This is a major milestone. There are very few projects with actual traction that's happening right now that have over 10,000 users. I think so. I think it's huge. I mean, the only other projects that are in the top 5 on for something like OpenSea that have over 10,000 addresses are entire art platforms, right? So like
Right.
Rarible,
Right.
like Rarible has 11,000 owners right now, right? But that's an entire those just people collecting art, collecting game assets is an entire thing, right?
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
it's you're responsible for every single one of these Axies,
dude.
every single one of these land items, etc. Raritable's only responsible for the platform. They're not responsible for actually creating the whole ecosystem as a whole. I'm curious though. I know this is exciting news, but like, how does it actually feel to have? You were here from, one address. You were here when it started. Obviously, we're all as
Maybe
a
maybe
community
like
seeing these.
maybe 30, maybe like 30 addresses or 40
Still,
addresses or something.
still, that's insane. I mean, I
Yeah.
started around 700, I think. So,
Wow.
still pretty early, and I've obviously seen the rapid rise over the last couple months. But like, that's got to feel good to know that you're part of creating this whole thing, right?
I mean, I feel happy that it looks like we're starting to deliver on a lot of the potential that uh, the potential that we have. I feel more responsibility. We feel more responsibility. The larger we get, so it's always like we rarely have chances to be like, yeah, like this is awesome, right? Not, I think we all believe that this could be big from the beginning, or we wouldn't have dedicated our lives to it. But it's good to see. It's good to see us fulfilling our natural potential. It's kind of like the way that I see it is like Axie has all the ingredients, and we should succeed. Like we should succeed. Not succeeding is not acceptable, and us just fulfilling our destiny is, it's nice. It's nice to see, and it's nice to be like, because obviously sometimes you may think that, oh, like we're the only people who think this, or this whole entire new economy, this new this age of play to earn gaming, it's all crazy, right? We all have moments like that, to be honest, right? Where we think that we're speaking, especially early on, where we think that we're the only ones who kind of see the potential for this.
Sure.
But
Of course.
but yeah, I mean, it's great to see the community growing. It's great to see the community energized and excited, and it's great to see this universe kind of starting to fulfill its potential. But that's just all it is, right? It's like we're starting to show what we can do, and yeah, I think this is just the beginning. So
Yeah.
it's been amazing.
Well, and I bet a lot of those addresses are some of these scholarship and friends types of addresses, and those to me count 100%. Those are important ways to get people into the Axie community and get them involved. And I'm just proud of AK and Reels and Axe and all the different people who are willing to put themselves out there and take the time and energy to put that stuff together. There was a slide I was going to put on here, but we just didn't have. I know we're going to run short on time for sure. But again, I just wanted to shout out to those guys. That's awesome stuff. Great stuff.
Hey, Gio, can I ask a question? You keep talking about potential and, starting again, kind of going back to the beginning where I'm sure the focus was on, hey, can we randomize these parts and put them on, these colored potatoes and, make it so that people can pay for them with Ethereum and, maybe make them breed, basically an upgrade from CryptoKitties at the time to this whole land ecosystem to, you keep building and building and building onto this stuff. And I don't know if we lost you, your picture dropped. You still there?
One sec.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, I was cleaning some tabs.
No problem.
Oh, this game! Since I started doing this, man, I have so many tabs open across my computer. It's unbelievable. I need to get a new monitor just to have all the different tabs.
But you keep kind of adding on to the scope, right? Which most software teams do not like doing at all because it's already complicated enough. But as we're kind of getting closer and closer to this release, are internally, are you still like, as a team going, do you kind of still have these aha moments like, oh my God, we could take it this much further after this stuff's out? I'm curious about this because everybody's focused on this next step, and I don't want you to commit to anything, but I know how my brain works, so just curious.
So all I'll do is speak for myself, and what I'll say is that Yeah, I've always believed that non-fungible tokens would be huge. I've always believed that Axie would be huge, or else I wouldn't spend my time trying to advance the mission. However, definitely there are times when my mind is blown as to the kind of surprisingly unexpected ways that the revolution is starting to come about. So yeah, obviously, we had the huge explosion in the Philippines recently of people playing to earn, and obviously COVID, right? Like the pandemic was not something that people being forced to stay in their homes. That was not something that we anticipated, right?
Right.
But it all plays into this narrative of people needing alternative sources of income, alternative sources of ways to make a living, new types of jobs for a new digital economy. And yeah, I think it's really accelerating things ahead of schedule.
Revolution,
So yeah,
baby. I love that you use that word. I feel like it is a style of revolution, and that it could really catch on and be huge in many ways, and in even in just like an equalizing factor worldwide. I think it's so neat. Oh man, man.
I think blockchain is the great geographic equalizer. It really does not discriminate in any way. Actually, our development team, our art team, is a great testament to that. You know, traditionally, Vietnamese tech startups would be localized and more focused on the local market. So Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. But whereas Trung, Masamune, they wanted to be a global startup, and I think that NFTs has been a really really great launching pad for them to kind of attract a local audience while also retaining a lot of the advantages of being in Southeast Asia, being in Vietnam, or
Sure.
you're able to have a low burn rate, for example, right? We survived a bear market where other European teams, American teams, they were like spending ridiculous amounts of money in an unproven market. Whereas I think one of the cool things about Axie is, we were very reasonable. We had a very reasonable burn rate. We were able to survive, I guess, like relatively comfortably. But there also, it was also there were some there were definitely hard times that we went through as a team as well.
Sure.
Yeah, so the slide I have up right now, it's showing the NFT weekly top 5 wallets, and we have on buyers and sellers, and then DApp active addresses. We've got Axie Infinity at number 1 on both of those positions, and then the next slide is just USD transactions, and here we have Axie Infinity in the number 2 spot in both of those. USD from sales, and you'll have to explain like what sales they're talking about there, Jiho. Maybe you can, and it's 417,000 USD, and then transfer.
Yeah, I mean the thing is they're not counting the land market in there too. That's only Ethereum mainnet, so that would only be Axies themselves, right? So
wow.
so
Because the land
so yeah, I
market
mean
has been on fire. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. People are starting to understand people are starting to understand the appeal of digital land. I've been thinking about it's like I'm a digital nomad. Like I've lived in so many different places over the next few years. So it's kind of like, what is our generation like? We want a home, but that home might be on the internet. So
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
I think like more people are waking up to the Axie land market. More people are waking up to the potential of Axie. I think it's great. I mean, I think it's a natural progression. Like, we always strive to be very utility focused, very focused on community, and to not overshoot, to be very measured in the way that we describe our vision to our community. And I think recently more and more people have started to understand the appeal of a game world or a digital pet universe with inherent property rights. And yeah, it's been amazing. It's been amazing to see the progression recently.
Right. And so if I understand that, that's like almost 1.75 ish, just a little bit under that in total USD value, just on this chart. And that doesn't include everything.
Yeah, I mean, so the way that I see it is, we're the most liquid NFT market. We're the for a single ecosystem. We have the largest community. We need to keep delivering. We're actually everything that's out there right now is from last year, which in the NFT space is a dinosaur.
Yeah.
So to me, we're thinking about 2 years ahead. We're working on things that you guys won't see for 1.5 years. That's always how it's been. So we're always
and really that answers my last question. So thanks for that.
Sweet.
So yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I get surprised. It's like yeah, we're working on this. It's like, how are we able to get this level of traction with the current stuff that we have in the market?
Right.
But I guess it's like we were thinking ahead of the pack. While a year ago, 2 years ago, and that's gotten us to this point. So
and even the people listening to this podcast are you're acting in present time. You're caught up to the moment. The new people coming into the Discord every day, they're still back in this whole digital pets maybe battling, and that's the extent of the ecosystem. We have an understanding that land's coming up, and you guys are still even further ahead of that. Oh my God, I can't talk. Somebody's mic is
fine, dude.
reverbing into me.
Oh yeah, I hear some feedback too. I'm not sure.
But anyways, you get my picture. It's like there's so many people still joining that have no idea what's coming up next. That most of us are still into, and it's still going to be a tidal wave once people figure out that land's here, and then the items kind of augment what's going on, and then all these different iterations or little pieces that are going to happen with the economy once new Luna's launched / resources become a thing, and everything like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I generally see it as we have two goals: giving more economic opportunities to our community, making the experiences accessible through our NFTs that we create more fun. So those are my two primary goals, I think. And I think like we have all the ingredients necessary to make all that happen, right? It's like we have people who understand math and economics really well on the team, and then we have the greatest artists in Southeast Asia. We have people who grew up longing for a more immersive version of Pokemon. Playing all the different Pokemon mods that came out, and thinking about how this could be made better.
So just a quick little small love potion update. 3 cents right now. It's always kind of worth tracking that. It's kind of seems to be going up and down, but at least in the last kind of 7 days, it seems to be tracking just below 3 cents and just above 3 cents. I like to see that be pretty stable as much as possible, just so that we kind of have an expectation of where that's going to go. It's been kind of tough. I think that there's been some people like me who have kind of been balancing whether you get into that liquidity pool in a big amount or buy Axie assets, and there's a balance there, right? It's kind of and again, we don't know for sure. We're going to have so many different resource tokens, right? We're going to have the governance token. We have this one small love potion that's really, as I've said, kind of like a single purpose utility token, and that still is the big splash, I think, right now. Apart from all of the movement in the marketplace and everything like that people can get on and play a game and earn a token that they can convert to their fiat of their choice is huge. So I just wanted to point that out. And then
I mean, I don't like to comment too much on SLP. However, what I will say is that the thing that I look at on it on more than the price is I look at the amount of liquidity in the pool.
Mm-hmm. Right. Makes sense. One thing in the Discord, Indus kind of asked, and I think it is kind of an important question, like when we get 10,000 people and we get more and more and more, is Discord going to, is Discord going to still be functional for what we need it to happen? I mean, I don't know. I haven't been on a lot of Discords. I'm still kind of an old guy. Indus talked about, what if he has an ex special ops friend who's trying to get onto Discord and figure out how to do this Axie Infinity thing. I'm sure you guys have thought about that, but I'm having a hard time sometimes even just keeping up with all of the chat. To be honest, it's getting to be a lot of people in Discord.
Yeah,
Odin tells us we can go up to 100K.
Great problem to have.
Yeah,
it's all a great problem to have, right?
Yeah.
It's things that are important will be announced in announcements. Maybe we'll be more aggressive about what we let the community know, or what, because they might miss it if they're not reading everything that happens, like what used to be possible. I mean, I think, who knows, like down the line, do we need to create our own chat mechanism for Axie related stuff that's custom built? It's like building building Ronin, right? A custom chain for us. Do we need to build our own chat application for Axie? It could be, it's possible, right? It's like, I see Axie is very social, so
right.
It's something to keep an eye on, right? It's like, what we'll also, I expect there to be many Axie sub discords over time, where there might be one
definitely.
on just Axie economics,
right? Like maybe even guilds and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guilds, Axie economics, Axie competitive scene. So I think there are going to be many branches of this tree.
Yeah, Mystic Holders, Rasterize brought that up in the chat. Maybe Mystic Holders all get together and have a Discord.
Well, and you already see that with the Axie GG and AK's scholarship. They've got kind of a training Discord for the people that are taking part of his program. So it's definitely already happening. And the nice thing is that you're seeing these kind of groups of people banding together and forming these tight-knit communities that maybe you're not able to with all these people interacting in the main Discord. If you don't already know people, it's hard to kind of make a name for yourself and get known. And some of these smaller communities allow that.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, Axie, I believe, should strive to be a protocol, and with a protocol, there are going to be many different types of circles and networks within sub-circles, sub-networks within the protocol. Just like there's not one Ethereum Discord, there's not one Ethereum Telegram. It's not. I think there should be many Axie related Discords, but I think the official one is, we should all hang out in there as well, and
oh yeah.
So there's a balance that needs to be struck.
No, it's great, and I absolutely appreciate and want to again just shout out some to the people who are taking, like Odin and Chief and other people, the Axie Angels and different people who really try their best to give good information to people who are learning. And it's not just those. I mean, there are lots of people who some of them come, some of them go, but come in and are really helpful and point people to good information for sure. This next slide I have up is just Psych Out had announced, and again, I don't know for sure who was behind this one, but just kind of discusses the NFT rights for Axie owners and how that relates to artists. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we got a lot to cover, but I just wanted to mention that happened this week, and it's awesome, and it's great for artists and the NFT holders to kind of understand their rights a little bit more clearly, the way Axie sees it. So. Okay.
Just to add a little bit, the way that I see it is that we want it to be empowering to the owners of the NFTs, where if someone is making art related to an Axie that you own and selling it without your permission, then it feels like you don't actually own that Axie, right?
Right.
So personally, I believe that the best way to do this is through some kind of social norms where we lay out like the way that we believe that it should work, and that the community kind of self-enforces it. And it's still an evolving standard. It's probably not perfect. I can almost guarantee that it's not perfect, and that it'll need to be adjusted in the future. But it's a starting point, and it's necessary to start a dialogue. So
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
I mean,
like
we're
it too.
still.
Go ahead, Enjoy. Yeah.
I was just going to say we're still in the wild, wild west of this space. No, this is going to be something that all of the different NFT platforms are going to have to figure out for themselves, and somebody's got to kind of take a stand and jump in first and try and figure this stuff out. And I haven't seen anything similar in terms of rights that artists have, or rights that NFT holders have. Although it makes a whole lot of space with the art kind of acceleration.
I think there have been a couple of attempts at it, but they haven't like really tried. They've kind of, I feel like the other past attempts have been kind of covert and trying to like slip it past the community. Whereas we're trying to be as upfront as possible. We know that some people might object to it too. We want to hear those objections and adjust where necessary. So.
Right. Well, again, it just kind of reminds me that there's an esport here. There's a PVE game. There's land and all the things that come with that. But there's also these NFT rights. So this is an experience as much as it is a game, as we call it. So, and thanks for the sub, man. That's so awesome, Raster. All right, so this just barely came up, and I felt like we should talk about it. This is the wrapped Origin Axie token that Coco and Owl have kind of created here, and I was just barely getting up to speed on what this means. Enjoi, did you get a chance to kind of decipher what's happening here?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting for a few reasons. One, we just saw something similar happen with punks, which is kind of why punks made their way back into the scene. Is before they weren't really tradable in the traditional NFT sense. They had to be run through their own primary contract, and now that they are wrapping punks, they're able to go through platforms like Rarible and OpenSea, which wasn't available before. Not quite the same thing as we're seeing here. What's interesting here, so we've got these wrapped origin axes, and basically what happens is you can submit an origin axie into the contract and receive one WOA token back. And now that WOA token is redeemable for a random origin axie that's within the contract. So anytime you have one of those WOA tokens, or WOA, I don't know if there's this is so new, it just came out about an hour ago, so I don't know if there's a definitive standard of what they're calling it yet, but anytime you have one of those tokens, you can put it into the contract and get back out a random origin axie, which at the time we're speaking right now is worth about 1 ETH.
That's awesome.
Is where the floor is at. Now the cool thing is basically because they're submitting to the contract and they've got a token associated, there's a liquidity pool associated as well. So the price fluctuation hopefully will kind of follow that of the floor of the origin market within Axie as well. The point of this is to bring more liquidity into that origin market. But the cool thing is now people who don't necessarily want to own Axies, or who can't maybe afford the ETH to buy a origin Axie themselves, can still speculate on the price, can buy a piece of this token, get a piece of the action and cash out like they would with any other
kind of like an EFT you were saying.
Yeah, I mean it's going to act as any other typical cryptocurrency, anything else under the Ethereum platform, so you can trade it on Uniswap. But yeah, that's kind of the neat thing is, there's a couple pieces to this. Is one, the community again is stepping up. This isn't just Sky Mavis building stuff that's going to help the platform grow. It's all these different kind of pieces that are going to come together outside of the platform as well, that make it more accessible, that make these different kind of financial pieces flow and work easier. But yeah, this is cool because it just like an ETF, just like the traditional stock market. If you buy the S&P 500, you're buying a chunk of all these different things. I can see similar things happening with this, where maybe you have the WOA token, you have one for maybe floor mystics, you have one for just regular Axies, and so buying a piece of that base token actually buys like a chunk of the broader Axie market. So a lot of cool things they could potentially do with this in the future. Again, this just launched an hour ago, so we'll see what happens in the near future. The other interesting thing too is, right when they launched it, apparently a bunch of bots picked up on the new contract
Yeah.
and bought the price up to 2 ETH each. So some people they bought a bunch of origins off the market, traded them in, and arbitraged the market a little bit too. So we'll see what happens. Jiho, I'd love to hear what you think of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the financialization of game assets is part of the reason that we're here. So yeah, and also turning community members, turning players into contributors, expanding their development skills. It's all amazing stuff. So yeah, really, really excited for this new initiative. Obviously, yeah, read the announcement article. It's a relatively unproven concept so far, or in terms of, it's a new contract. So just, take it all with a grain of salt, learn about it, learn what it means, check it out. I think that, my first impression is that it's going to be good for the ecosystem and it's going to be interesting. And so I'm excited for what they've done. I'm just going to go to the bathroom and come back.
Yeah, of course. He makes a good point. Proceed with caution if you want to participate in it. It's brand new.
Well, and it's highly technical too, right?
It's highly technical. These are 2 trusted members of the community that are working on it. So, I don't think they're out trying to scam people. But, with any Ethereum contract, you just want to be careful when it's still unproven. People can find flaws with it. The other piece is right now do your own research. But the other piece right now is you're interacting directly with the contract. There's no real good web page GUI to interact with it. So it sounds like they're working on that currently. But if you want to play around with it, you got to read the instructions. It's a little technical. So yeah, just be careful.
All right, so we're into the development update now, and this
quick, we got to speculate before he gets back.
I know. Let's hurry, man. Actually, I want him around for the harder parts of it, because I want to at least see his visual reaction. If you're watching the stream, I want to see when we ask him things. I want to watch him squirm.
Sure.
So first of all, I mean, we already kind of talked about this though, so we can skip through. This was the first part of the development update announcement, just kind of talking about monthly active users and downloads and just kind of adoption in general. Talked about the Delphi Digital purchase, just kind of a recap of some of the amazing growth that's happened. And we're into the development update now, JIHOZ. So, but we're going to get right to the heart of it. We're going to make you sweat. We're going to see what we can find out from you. So, land, and again, for the podcast, the Axie community is very excited about land play, and we've seen a surge of new landowners entering our ecosystem lately. We're very close to rolling out a public alpha for land. The team is working hard to ensure that it lives up to the lofty expectations and standard you've come to expect from us. So again, we want land to be done a very, very good way. The team wants to hit certain, thresholds of standards that they have. So what are we talking, JIHO? Next week? He didn't even react.
No flinch.
I tried.
I think we're talking like months. Talking like weeks and months, not quarters, at least. So I don't know if you guys like are Elon fanboys or whatever or what, but the way that we look at things, we try and set very aggressive deadlines for ourselves, and and try and hit them. If we don't make them, we're still going to be on the bleeding edge of technology. So I think at this point, I think we've earned the right to kind of set aggressive, expectations for future rollouts with our community to try and push ourselves to hit them. And So what I'll say is that our current plans for feature rollouts this winter are very aggressive.
That's awesome. Glad to hear that.
And we would love to hit them. So
he said winter, not fall. So that's probably putting us out of this month, unfortunately, baronar.
Let's see. When does winter start technically?
And the thing is, like, it's always like we always have we always have a kind of, sometimes we may have a closed alpha, closed beta before we show it to the world, depending on the feature. So
That's
You know,
awesome.
the reaction from the people, for example, the reaction from the players of the battle system, the alpha, the reaction that they had kind of, and the feedback that they had an effect, I'm sure, on the when we deployed. So yeah,
Sure.
what I would say is, we're always looking to go as fast as possible, as long as it doesn't hurt, and that it helps our mission. So
Right. No, that makes perfect sense.
And as you said before, the more people join, the more expectations you've got to kind of meet or try and walk around. So I'm sure the pressure's on. It's not like you're trying to push this back for no reason at all.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
mean,
to make sure
I'm
it's
not saying
coming
that
out
we're
right.
pushing it back, right? So all I'm saying is that we have a very aggressive rollout schedule. So basically, the way that our deadlines work and our roadmap works, we always have an internal roadmap, and we always look to communicate within reason that parts of that internal roadmap with the public,
Right.
as long as we believe that it's feasible. And on my side, I'm more willing to err on this side of being overly optimistic with regards to our communication of the public roadmap, because that will push us internally to work even harder, so that, because you guys push us, right? Like, if we didn't have the community pushing us,
Dropping leaks in the chat every day.
rooting for us, then that's part of the culture. That's part of how we operate. Is we're beholden to you guys. So it's a fine balancing act, but I think we've done it quite well so far.
Yeah, I guess they hold the tools in their mouth. Sorry. Oh no, sorry. I was just talking out loud and reading the chat. So here we are. We're looking at the screenshot that was shared to us in the development update of Land, and there's lots of things that I'm sure we'll talk about even more in depth, in the coming weeks that we see here. I mean, unless you're going to give us a whole bunch more screenshots, JIHO, then we'll just have to keep running screenshots through and looking at, trying to figure out everything that's going on. But I guess Enjoi. What do we want to do? Do we want to try to get JIHO to tell us what we're seeing here?
I think that'd be cheating.
Is it?
JIHO, you tell us. You're over here
How do
sticking
you?
your tongue
Yeah, I
out.
mean, we
You
can
look
sit
like
here
you're
and guess,
excited.
but I think you've played it.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I'm watching the stream. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It is what it is, right?
So we see like 99 out of 99.
We're working on land gameplay. We're working on land gameplay. We're working on having an inventory. We're working on resource crafting. Something that's not displayed there is the ability to build structures, to have those structures working while you're not playing. That's one thing that we were working on this weekend. The ability to have a Axie specific inventory, the backpack, and to merge that with the plot specific inventory, I believe, and then a general inventory. So we're obviously working on the ability for people to get resources, use those resources, turn those resources into more amazing things.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, what we are seeing here, right, is we see some stone resource nodes, some wood resource nodes, and some, I guess, herb or bushes types of resource nodes, right?
So I'll step a foot out of bounds real quick and just say this isn't a resource node. At least if those coordinates on the top left are accurate. This is actually one of Coco's plots. I did some digging.
We're using Coco's plots, I believe, because it's like, if it works with Coco's account, it'll work with everyone's
Just
account.
because of the sheer amount, that makes sense.
I see.
Because we need to make sure that it works for everyone. So what I'll say is, this is a land plot. This is not a resource plot, and a resource node. And the idea is that there will be resources. There will be an ability to harvest from your own plot, and then there will be an ability to go out of bounds, go out in the world and harvest that way as well.
Right, and I think I used the wrong word here. What I meant was we're seeing actual collectible resources on this map that the Axies can go to and actually harvest and get into their inventory. Right?
So,
like that little axe on that wood, and the little pick on the stone, and then we see those in the actual inventory of this. I don't know if I'm getting too specific. I'll back off, but it's sure that's what it looks like to me. Like this pumpkin Axie, big yak Axie, has gone and actually harvested some stone and some wood, and now it's sitting in its inventory. I mean, unless I'm seeing something wrong.
Yeah, I think those are reasonable assumptions.
Sweet. Cool.
So Jiho, I've got to ask: are these Masamune's Axies, or are these Coco's Axies?
I think those are Masamune's Axies. So
Okay.
One of the reasons that I know this is that one of those Axies, the one that you're looking at from the back with a snail shell, actually is a Christmas Axie that Cloud White gave to Masamune that he holds really dearly to his heart, I believe, because he's been using it in a lot of testing stuff.
Oh yeah, look at its nose. Yeah, it does look like it's a Christmas. It's got that Christmas nose, right? It looks like it.
I'm just making sure we're talking NFT rights. We're talking making sure you've got people's permission before using their artwork likeness.
Yeah,
I want to make sure that the team's on board.
I'm pretty sure
Masamune would.
I'm pretty sure it's Masamune.
So what do we see in the middle there? I mean, is that it? Kind of looks like maybe it's a mine shaft with a rope, or is that is that a dungeon?
Yeah. What is that? It looks like a campfire, right?
Yeah, it's kinda.
It's definitely not a campfire. It looks like it goes down deep. There's a cross of sticks,
like a well.
And there's a rope tying those sticks together. So my guess is either well, or like you said, maybe a dungeon of some sort.
Yeah.
I think it's a campfire.
It is a campfire. Okay.
I think it's a campfire. I'll ask.
Okay,
yeah, we'll get the answer from Gio.
Gio's trying to throw us off the trail.
This is good.
Yeah, so we've got that.
To be honest, it's not a dungeon. Like when you see a dungeon entrance, which I've seen, you're gonna know it's a dungeon entrance.
All right, I like it.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay, so moving on to the stuff we see here. Oh man, I'm so lit. We see 59 minutes with a hammer to build a pile of logs.
Let me see.
So it's that little hammer, and right below it says 59:00.
Yeah, there might be some indication of like building something.
Okay.
He's gonna start holding back. That's cool.
That's all good. I mean, I start theorizing, maybe that's some sort of storage, the ability to store some of your logs or something like that. Pretty good theory, maybe. I don't know. Looks something like that. Anyway, and then
yeah, I mean, you guys may think that I know more than I know.
It's all good. I just remember in one of the materials you guys talked about storing resources on land plots, and so that's kind of where my head went. I don't see any specific like sheds or anything like that, but that looks like maybe some wood storage. I worry because I'm right next to Enjoi on a lot of my stuff. If I build that, I'm worried he might come right across the trail there and try to pilfer my my wood stores.
Pilfering all day.
Yeah. Odin has found the Axie that was given to from Cloud White to Masamune.
Oh, in the chat.
That is true. That 19030. That is one of our land dummies. I can confirm that.
That is awesome. Way to go, Odin. All right, and then I've been kind of building up. There's a few other things I'd love to ask about, but the chimera there. I mean, my thoughts go to: is this chimera specific to this land plot, or is this one that's just kind of wandering around the world? Um, Maybe you don't even know that type of information, but we see the little sword icon on the chimera, looking like it's tackable in some way.
Yeah, my guess.
So
sorry, go ahead.
That chimera is very similar to the chimera that we showed in our kind of very initial when we shared our initial version or vision
For
for
land.
Land to the World. We had chimera like that. So yeah, the idea, like, what do chimera battles look like on land? That's a very interesting and pivotal question for land gameplay. We've been giving it a lot of thought. We've been doing a lot of hard work on that, and it seems like the land team's making some progress on that. So.
That's awesome. And we see the little scarab bug up at the top that kind of has the daytime and the nighttime, and then with the cog up there, obviously to get into some sort of options menu. There's a map, a compass, a home. Those kind of look like they're going to be interface options, to do various things, like go out to the map maybe to recenter yourself as far as a compass goes, and then a home to bring you back to whatever the home is. And then up above we see the little icons for your Axie team, it looks like. Again, not sure. And then you see a little person to the right, it looks like. All of that stuff is I'm excited to hear more. We do see the special Christmas Axie, and his little idea or speech bubble says land, and then it has a land plot with an attack symbol. Anything you want to add to any of that? I'm just kind of describing what I see.
I'll throw in there too, because I did some more snooping, and that plot is actually a crossroads. So if we're seeing this chimera walking down the road, it makes sense that, again, if things are finalized as much as this much, it makes sense that more chimera might be hanging out on the roads up north from this plot.
And I'm still confused on the plot, because looking at it as positive 124, positive 12.
It looks like a Savannah plot. It looks like a Savannah plot.
It's a Savannah plot.
Well, 124,
positive 12.
124, 12.
It's clear over
on
the it's in a different quadrant. It's actually like clear over on the right side of the map. And the 111 -10 it's kind of weird because it's on a road. So I don't know if it's just a travel thing or what.
This might be random numbers, to be honest.
Okay, all right. It does say Savannah, and 124.12 is a Savannah, but it's over way far away from anything that's released so far. All right, hey, we're gonna move on.
It's in a different quadrant. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we have that. Now we have Chimera can roam the map and be battled. There's multiple upgrades to that experience. We've made progress around building and upgrading structures. Structures can also be sent to work on resource production over time. Anything you can tell us about that, or is that just dropping hype for us to get excited about? That's pretty cool. Yeah, okay, so I'll keep going.
We're always trying to strike the balance between giving you guys enough tantalizing details to be, excited, and also reserving some of the surprise for when it actually comes out. So,
well, I don't want to press you too hard, man, because I want you to come back to these things. So, but I'm not going to stop.
I think that it shows like what we're trying to do is like
that's awesome.
We want structures. We want those structures to be able to produce resources over time. And that's awesome. Important to us. So.
So for example, it could be like a mine or something like that that produces rock over time, or
A
you know, a
mill,
mill
a
or something
I think
sawmill.
like
so.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that. Stuff like that. Makes sense.
Oh, so awesome.
I mean, we grew up. We're Asian for the most part, except for Alex. So we grew up playing StarCraft.
Dude, Warcraft, StarCraft. Yes, my
StarCraft,
lord.
Warcraft, Age of Empires. And
Oh,
imagine if those resources were, your C20s. So.
oh
Well,
gosh.
that's cool. That brings a few more I don't know. Fill in the blank for me. Go ahead.
I'm broken, man. That is such a
me
cool
too.
that is such a cool idea. I can't even oh wow. Okay. So,
It's
you
just
know,
nice to see where the inspiration's coming from, I guess. We've always had this kind of Pokemon vision, but seeing some of the other games that the teams play and artwork
No, of course.
inspiration over time and stuff like
Dude,
that, it's very cool.
we like we're Asian, dude. Like we played Pokemon, we played even Zelda. Zelda's had like inspiration on Axie, I'm sure.
awesome.
Stardew Valley, like we love Stardew Valley. Yeah, StarCraft, Clash of Clans. We've played all the good games, and I think like we're pretty particular in what games we think are good. Slay the Spire is another one that like
Oh
also
yeah.
like inspires us a lot in terms of like the card game and like how to make
Makes a
that
lot of
fun.
sense, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so now items can merge between Axie inventories, backpacks, and a general inventory. Furniture is coming, decorations and land. That sounds so cool. Made data storage and performance upgrades to ensure our servers can handle the stress of many landowners playing at once. Obviously, that's going to be huge and very important. Okay, so it's not it. We still have Battles version 2, and we'll pull this up. And I mean, this is so awesome. This is so awesome to me. This interface just looks so compelling and interesting. I mean, I like the current battles, but this just seems to be it just artistically looks awesome. I'm so interested in these different jugs to find out exactly what that's going to mean. I'm assuming energy or something like that. These spinning wheels, the whole cog thing, the theme and everything on this one just looks so awesome to me. Have you got an opportunity to play this yet, Jiho? This V2?
I'm playing it. I'm actually part of the. So unlike land, I'm just kind of more of a passive observer. With battles, I'm more of a. I'm also having some input in regards to the talent system that we talked about, things like that. So yeah, I played it. Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's gonna be more dynamic, more fast paced. I think that we should always be looking to improve the battle system. For example, yeah, I think Pokemon has tried to improve upon its battles experience over time. Um,
Yeah.
but like maybe not so purposefully, or maybe not so. Yeah, maybe not to the extent that the community or the players would like.
Right.
So
I think that's true.
yeah, I think in the early days it's very important for us to continue to experiment, because like the thing is, actually we are in a blessed position where Axies are cute, they're collectible.
Right.
We have some, we can play around. I think we can play around with the battle system to see, and especially in the early days, to try and make it as fun as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what I'm really interested is this talent system idea. I know that it's just, I mean, as far as I know, this is the first time this has really even been introduced or talked about. The idea that there's going to be like a talent tree. And here I'll skip over to the actual article itself. Finished a framework for a talent tree. Thought about clear-cut archetypes for all the classes. Talents will be a way to further distinguish classes from each other and make the game more interesting and teams more customizable. Gave talents many names. And when we look at that, I'm wondering, like, this dry chili item, that seems to be a little bit different. And I think we were kind of breaking this apart, Jiho, trying to figure out, like, are these the cards that are specific to this team, or is this just an example, like concept art?
Yeah, I think those are just examples, right? Because, like, for example, like dry chili, that's like hot butt, right? And nobody on that team has hot butt. So,
Right.
I think they're just maybe just showing off some of the cards.
I think we kind
yeah,
of
I mean, I think we're still working on it. So what I mean, the way that I'd look at it is, I would say, like, this is just proof that progress is being made on Battles V2.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I don't. Some people, yeah. Some people may be like, oh, like the art doesn't necessarily fit together with the UI yet. But I think that's mostly it's mostly just that's mostly just the the fact that we're still working on it. So.
Yeah. I think it looks awesome, but yeah, we'll...
I mean, I think it's interesting, and it's like we're becoming more sophisticated. So all change has growing pains. So.
Well, and I like this last one too, the card copy information and making sure people understand their cards and making it simple.
Yeah, that's definitely like something that we think a lot about, and which is very important. So.
That's awesome.
So if we go back to the picture, let's just pick it apart real quick, because there's a lot of new concepts. There's a lot of maybe leaks as to what to expect. And I don't know about you, but one of the first things I noticed is there's no like health bars above each individual Axies, but it looks like maybe there's overall.
That should probably, in terms of health bars, I think that's necessary. So it might just be like trying to show you guys more.
Just the opinion. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. But it is interesting that it looks like maybe there's some sort of health bar up top for the whole overall team. So, watching him eat his goldfish.
Yeah.
You contemplate this, eating your goldfish.
I like the gong. I mean, I think that symbolizing, you're done with your turn, hitting the gong. That's pretty cool. Kabong.
I think like that UI especially is much better right now.
That's awesome. So we're seeing an old leak. Oh, wow. That's awesome.
That's fun. Yeah. So there's a couple more things, though, in the middle. It looks like some sort of counter.
In terms of, so Indus is saying the cards looks pooled. That's not the case. So you can actually see that each card has a icon of an Axie attached to it. Does that make sense? So.
Yep.
Yeah, and it has
it names actually the class.
I played it, and this UI is slightly different than what it looks like in game. I think it's mainly just, it's like we're gonna show off the UI, show off what these cards look like.
The work in progress. All right.
Cool. Yeah,
it does look like maybe there's a couple other things. There's this jug on the left and a jar on the right. Have no idea what that means. There's also I'm trying to figure out what
jug might be like. Jug might be related to like discarded or banished cards.
Ooh, discard pile.
It's like banished cards okay, this is actually maybe a leak. Banished cards are like cards that you can only use once per battle. So.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. And then there's these wheels underneath. One says 24 on the left-hand side, and one says 5 on the right-hand side. And I had kind of thought that was your draw pile and your discard pile, but maybe that leads to that banish pile. I don't know.
Well, and then it's 32. I think they're similar up there at the top. They're 32 and 15. Yeah, I was confused about that too. But again,
and I was wondering if maybe
that's 20. I think 24 looks like the draw pile. 5 looks like the discard pile.
Okay.
2 might be the banish pile. 1. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, we're getting farther.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And then the other interesting thing is underneath the cards, next to the Axie name and next to the Axie picture and underneath the card name, They say specifically plant
Type. Yep.
or beast, but then some of them also say, you know, support or damage, and then there's one that says secret too for pumpkin.
An item. Yeah. Yep.
And an item for dry, is that dry chili that says item?
Yep. Yep.
So some potential.
Yeah, so there's gonna be items.
Well.
There's gonna be items. The idea of secret, like I'll leave that
Fair enough.
undiscovered for now.
That's cool.
Fair enough.
That's cool. It sounds like maybe one that takes effect at the end, at the very end after everything else, or something like that. Or, yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about these card descriptions here. You know, card description may be very long, but it should not take. Oh, sorry, I'm being a turd now. We'll move on. No, but I am excited about the actual card descriptions. I'm excited to hear how that. To me, this style of card is exciting because, you know, it has a type of card, it has the class that can play the card, or however that works out. Then it has a good descriptor of what the card is going to do in the card copy. All right, more good. Move. We good? Okay. So
What else you got?
I think we covered most of this stuff, and I know that there's going to be so much more that we're going to want to talk about, but we got to talk about the marketplace. We can't do this Axie Chat without talking about where things stand in the marketplace. So I did a comparison from our last week's Axie Chat to where we're at today, just kind of to give some comparative figures. You know, the Mystic one really exploded comparatively. I felt like, you know, made maybe some of the biggest gains. Forest did too, though, for the floor. And you got to realize on some of these, this floor is really skinny. Like, there's Odin just put one up for 0.9. He must be, you know, just trying to cash in or something. But the next one above that's basically one ETH for Arctic. So some of these are really thin floors, but it just gives you a good sense. It gives you a good sense of.
You know what's even crazier is like when you convert those to USD terms too. So.
Yeah, I mean, what was it when you had the initial land sale? Was it 150 ETH?
Like ETH was like 120 or something.
120.
You know, like Savannah sold out in one day, right? So, and ETH was 122, I think, 120, something like that, the day of the land sale.
People love their Savannahs. It's wild.
I bought a good amount on day one, and I didn't spend a whole lot of money, so.
That's awesome. Anyway. So definitely I just wanted to kind of give everybody an update as to the Axie floors, the amounts. So again, we've got chest price, then we have current floor, and then just what that multiplier is.
So there are more plots for sale this week, but the price actually went up. So it's kind of like people listing.
That shows a really quite healthy market.
I saw Danny threw quite a bit on there, and Danny's always kind of been more of a market maker than anything. He's holding floors, and you know he's moving the floor. He likes playing that game. Yep. I don't know. I keep seeing new people coming in, and they buy their first team, and they play a couple games, and they're like, "Hey, what's this land thing?"
Yep.
You know, there's always going to be plots for sale. People are always going to have a price, and they'll keep listing it for whatever their price is.
Yep.
So I have no concern about the number of plots increasing. I mean, whatever, it's a healthy market either way.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't think, like you said, the floor is still thin. You know, Mystic going up to $5 is like only what is it, like 20 plots or something like that? It's crazy. And even like the items, if you look at the Mystic items, you know, I think we jumped from like maybe 40 to we're close to 70.75 now.
Yep.
For Mystic items, the Chimera, sorry everybody in chat, items jumped
the Chimera
up.
plush.
The Chimera, they were at I think like 1.5 the other last week, and now they're up to so I think one yesterday went for 2, but the floor is basically 250. Yeah. So Chimera's still everything.
I bought one at like 0.4.
Yeah. And that wasn't even that long ago that they were going for that.
Yeah, it's incredible. So but again, like an increasing inventory at the same price indicates more of a healthy market, I believe. So sure. I think it's good, and I'm looking forward to it. And you know, yeah, oh, wow. So
And of course, we're not even talking about the Axie market either, because that's been exploding too.
correct. And
The
next time I'll
Origin,
make sure we talk about that a little bit more.
yeah, but Mystics kind of started getting. I mean, they're still reasonably priced, I think, compared to the rest of the NFT market. But they started getting a little bit more expensive, so people started looking for the next best thing. So we started seeing Origins obviously popping up, and now there's a 1 ETH floor there. We started seeing the limited frosty Christmas time Axies, which have a thin amount there too. That has gone up pretty dramatically in price. So everything's kind of moving.
Yeah. So I just wanted to quickly show the Genesis floor, how it changed from last week to this week. I think that there was one sale, but I'm not sure, and I think it was OTC, so I don't know if it got picked up. But again, just a reminder to people, Genesis is the super rare land. And I mean, I don't know, again, it would be awesome if the team could tell us a little bit more about how they believe Genesis is going to move forward. You do some calculations and you come up with almost like that maybe it should be based on the rarity of Genesis, that maybe it should be almost 100 times Mystic, just based on kind of the ETH. But JIHOZ just kind of said, I don't know. I think that's what that face was, but I don't know. Anyway.
I'll let JIHOZ drop all the leaks. I gotta bounce off though. We've got my wife needs some.
Oh yeah,
some
no,
bandwidth
you're good,
here.
Enjoi.
So you can finish up, guys. I'll see you all next week.
Hey, yeah, thanks for
but,
good luck.
JIHOZ,
Keep the wife
thanks for
happy.
joining us. And
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yep.
All right, take care, guys.
Always,
see ya.
I'll hang out.
See you,
you as well. Bye.
Sweet. Okay, so now that Enjoi is gone.
In terms of Genesis, I don't want to comment too much on Genesis. I think.
Nah, you're fine.
I don't want to move the market, but Genesis are awesome.
Yeah, they are. You don't want to move the market. JIHOZ suddenly buys revenge his bottom the floor there. No, I don't know. I was kind of surprised Delphi didn't come in and swoop a couple of these up, but yeah. Who knows?
Good
right?
point.
Yep. So I mean,
I don't about land.
Yeah. No, maybe. Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah. Whatever. Again, like it's hard for me because I'm just excited for land to actually happen and have an idea of what some of those things are going to actually produce and what that's going to mean. But all of that comes all the way around to this picture that I have up here, and that's because I'm hoping that we're going to get Leak City Baby with respect to November. But one thing that I noticed wasn't really in the development update article, JIHOZ, was anything about the governance token. So this was, though, posted. We saw this. It looks like Psych Out Alex is going to be going on the Play to Earn Game Festival that happens in November. And it sounds like that he's going to have something to share about the governance token. Maybe.
I think you guys are going to be surprised how ready we are, how prepared we are, the governance token. So it's something that we've been looking forward to for a long time. We've been working on for a long time. So,
okay,
I think that's our secret weapon. To be honest,
sweet.
Like ERC 20s have always been our secret weapon. Before we had SLP, nobody knew about Axie.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, well, I actually wanted to leave this on this note, just kind of bringing up again Luna, and making sure that people were still thinking about that and had something that they had to savor on, and look forward to, at least for whatever Alex has to say at that gaming. If not, maybe sooner. Who knows what the team's going to decide? But yeah, excited to hear more about that. Anything else you'd like to to let the player base know, or the listeners to Axie Chat, JIHO?
Yeah, I mean, Axie community has been doing amazing things recently. What I'd want everyone to know is that this is a long-term game. We're looking to bring true property rights to gamers. This is a revolution in gaming, honestly. And you guys, if you're listening to this, you are you're dealing with something very special. So, yeah, thanks for being part of this. Thanks for believing in us. And yeah, I'm really excited. And just know that everything that you guys do, everything that the community does, really pushes the team forward. So yeah, I think it's something really special is happening here.
Right
And
on.
then and then to Iron Twitch, he says, "What do you think is the best Mystic item to own
Oh yeah,
for
yeah.
when land gameplay is available?" I mean, to be honest, I'm not gonna answer that. But I like the plushies just because they're cute. So I mean, that's how I am. I'm an aesthetics guy. So.
Yeah. Hey, Raster, you asked about the land plots. That information's available. We'll try to pull it up and put it in Discord somewhere, but you can find that. There is a limited number of land plots, and that amount is known. The map has all of the land plots. There's just been one quadrant that's been released so far. So I think the best Mystic item so far, it's hard to know, but those rare plush, that's hard to... I mean, of the typical ones, if you're including like the Dow ones and some of that kind of adds a whole different twist to the analysis. But the rare plushies with their stat bonuses plus 20% loot drop rate increase, it's pretty hard to beat. Now if you're traveling a lot, then some of them with the speed increase for your team. And man, JIHO, I'd love to ask you all sorts of questions, but I know like you're gonna say, well, you just have to wait till see. But again, I'm still trying to wonder things like, are Axies on a particular land plot going to benefit from the items that are sitting on the plot, or is the Axie team that's the home base for that land plot going to be the Axie team that receives the benefits from whatever land items can be put on that plot? So, because that seems to make sense, like with the mushroom, for example, and some of the speed increases, like you wouldn't want people walking across your own plot to get stealth bonuses so they didn't drop stuff, right? I don't know.
It should be the team that lives there is getting the bonuses.
Right. And I think that makes sense
rather
too.
than the team that's on it.
And I noticed you said should be, so you're not, completely dropping a leak, but that does make sense to me.
I mean, I'm to be honest, I'm less tuned in.
Right.
I'm less tuned into the land team than the Battles V2 team.
Right. That makes sense too. And I have lots of other very specific questions about that stuff too. But we've had a good chat. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Just want to say thanks again, JIHO. Thanks to Enjoi. Thanks to the community. Thanks to everybody who turns out and hangs out with us in the stream. We love your questions. We love hearing all the excitement that we have for Axie Infinity. And hey, just thanks a lot, guys. Hope you had a great time. Any final thoughts, JIHO?
Yeah, thanks for everybody who is listening. Thanks to baronar and Enjoi for Axie Chat. This is amazing. It's becoming a staple of the community. So
thanks, man.
big fan. And would love to jump on in the future.
Sweet, anytime.
Yeah, really excited for land gameplay. Like we're heading into launch season. That's what I'll say. Is like we're heading into launch season. It's kind of like one thing that I'll say that's kind of a peek into my mind is like it's kind of interesting that we were starting to get like famous and like get all this traction recently when a lot of the gameplay, a lot of the features are 10 months old, which is I think is like dinosaur level.
Right.
So we're trying to disrupt ourselves, even though we're number one right now. So
yeah, I love it. Well, and that makes sense too. I mean, a lot of the land information that I'm still drawing from is from when you guys very first released land, which is kind of mind blowing, you know. I mean, not released, but very first talked about land and put it up for sale. So, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
looking forward
definitely.
to it.
I think we had a vision for like, you know, earning a token, just, you know, and that's documented on the record. That's like very, yeah, that's very before, you know, uh, other people were kind of thinking about something like that. So
Right, right.
yeah,
I
I
love it.
mean,
So excited. All
uh,
right, well, we'll wrap it up. Hey, thanks again, everybody. And this is Axie Chat. This is our 6th episode, and we're just keeping at it. And thank you. And, you know, we love feedbacks, comments, whatever. If you have questions that we can try to address, we're happy to hear those things. And again, thanks so much, Jiho.
yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. All righty. See you guys.